can be seated.
Now you may be seated. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. I have seen him in the watchfires of 100 circling camps. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and damps. I can read his righteous sentence by the dim and flaring lamps. His day is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His day is marching on. In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea, with a glory in his bosom that transfigured you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us die to make men free.
Welcome. Oh, gracious. There we go. All right. Welcome to the Wayne Dupree Show. I'm your host, Wayne Dupree, and we're doing it live today. We have our co-host, Miss Cam Bree Nelson. What's up, Cam?
What a morning. Loretta Lynch came out. Now we've got the White House about to come out and make some comments. So let me just say, I think American people are laughing at Loretta Lynch this morning. But it's a good morning in California.
It's a good morning. How are you? And Cam is in California. And we also have Mr. Cole McNeely out of Bloomington, Indiana. He is our millennial. How you doing, Cole?
Wayne, it's a great morning. It's a beautiful morning in Bloomington, Indiana. We just got off air of the Wayne Dupree Show. So everybody tuning in now, make sure to check that out tonight on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
In a few minutes, where Donald Trump is going to be speaking to the Western Conservative Summit in Denver, Colorado. As most of you remember, Colorado is one of those places that really didn't get to vote. The millions and millions of people didn't get to vote. And that's something that Donald Trump was very angry about. He didn't like it. Many of us didn't like it because a lot of people weren't able to voice and support Donald Trump. Y'all remember that?
I remember that. I think a lot of people are upset. They're mad. I think, this is a time where we've seen in this election, all of the stuff that's not fair. come out. And if I was in Colorado, I would be just upset. But I don't think it's enough for the GOP or anybody to say, oh, next year we are going to change, or the next 4 years we'll make sure that we do it differently. When the voters feel disenfranchised, man, we get upset. We get mad.
Right. Cole, with the Western Conservative Summit, they've been doing this for a couple years now, and they bring out presidential candidates and they bring out conservative speakers. But this year they're bringing out the presumptive GOP nominee, which is Donald Trump. I know we support him. I would beg to say 99.9% of the people on the Right Side Broadcasting Network support him, and we're waiting to see what he's going to say to this conservative summit.
Right, and I mean, this is going to be a exciting day, I think, for conservatives, and hopefully Donald Trump can win over people, right? I mean, this is something that Donald Trump has to do, especially with the people on the right, some of these corruption, some of these conservative people who are, I have Hillary Clinton on my mind, but some of these conservative people who aren't on the Trump train yet. Maybe this speech, maybe talking to a conservative crowd can help convince them that he is out here fighting for them.
We need more people on the Trump train, okay? We need every one of you that are watching this today, that will be watching Donald Trump speak, that will be watching Donald Trump lay out what he wants to do for America. We need you to go out and spread that message, because with the amount of vitriol that is being thrown at Donald Trump right now, with the amount of people that are throwing up these lies. You have Democrats, you have Republicans, you have Democratic super PACs, you have Republican super PACs. I'm glad that more people in Colorado right now will be able to listen to Donald Trump and make up their minds. It's him over Hillary Clinton. Cam?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, Colorado can be definitely one of the swing states, but I think there's more conservatives that are following Donald Trump that they want to give him credit for. I mean, we're listening to the GOP elite who definitely aren't backing Donald Trump. I don't think their opinion matters. At least their opinion doesn't matter to me. But this is definitely getting him in front of and doing more speaking engagements and talking engagements, and for conservatives just really kind of, hits the nail on the head that, yes, people, there are conservatives that do back Donald Trump no matter what you say. So this is going to be an amazing speech. I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to say, especially being in Colorado, where they were completely disenfranchised on votes, and it's typically more of a blue state.
And I think it'll be interesting to see if he brings up the Loretta Lynch controversy that's going on, or what she said today.
One of the main things about these people that are getting up here and speaking for Donald Trump right now is we have to go back and remind everybody that is watching right now, these people right now did not stand up for Donald Trump back in Colorado, did their little thing for only letting the people on the floor of the arena. So we have to remember what the Colorado GOP is all about. We have to remember that. But I think actually, Donald Trump is getting ready to come out on the floor and
kind of go along with the status quo.
We're going to pass.
But I didn't get into government to do the safe and easy things.
Actually,
a ship in harbor is
Sarah
safe,
Palin.
but that's
Sarah
not
Palin
why
is
the
getting ready
ship
to come
is
out.
built.
So I guess Joe is going to switch it back to Sarah Palin.
Ladies and gentlemen, the
we will be back.
conservative icon, Sarah Palin.
Thank you so much, Colorado. Thank you so much for being here, for fighting for what is right. I really appreciate being here and appreciate Representative Navarro's introduction. Privileged to meet her and her family, her beautiful girls, Christina and Georgie. And she is just such a great voice and face and heart for Colorado. I love being in Colorado, where you're tasting the Rockies and waiting for the mountains to turn blue, right? I do love Colorado. It reminds me so much of home. Also very excited to know that we're in the presence, not physically right at this moment, but hopefully soon he'll be addressing the summit, in the presence of Colorado's next great senator, Darrell Glenn. I am in awe of this man's accomplishments and his willingness to serve on a new battleground now. We need Darrell's military might and his ethos so that America can be made great again. So thank you for sharing him with the rest of the United States, Colorado. Well, I just returned from speaking at an event much unlike this event. It was full of folks who weren't really big fans of someone like a Darrell Glenn or a Donald Trump or me, you, maybe any common sense conservative. And that's okay because I love the challenge of not just singing to the choir, and I love mostly the topic that they gave me. It was, how is Trump winning? More specifically, it was, why, oh, why is Trump winning? And I told him, it's really funny to me to see the splody heads keep exploding over this movement because it seems so obvious. Darrell wins, Trump wins, America will win because voters are so sick and tired of being betrayed. Politicians campaign one way and they govern another, and that's become status quo. So enough voters finally said enough, that the status quo has got to go. It's like my dad's pickup truck. He's got a bumper sticker and it says, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I am an American and I want my country back. Dad's truck, it speaks for the silenced majority. Well, millions have awakened, as I explained to the other crowd. Millions have awakened to the reality of our economy's trajectory and our standing on the world stage and our measures of security. And we said, Washington is so broken. Our government is out of control. So for such a time as this, we rise up to tear down what it is that keeps us from our destiny as an exceptional nation, that beacon for other nations that are striving for peace and prosperity. It is time. It is our time. So let's go fix it. Knowing, though, the rapidity of this transformation of America, the piled on problems, and most tragically, sensing the people's hope deferred, voters knew that, well, the only way to fix this is with a revolution. So we sought a revolutionary. We paid attention. We did our own homework versus relying on the media to vet candidates for us. We asked, who is not part of the problem? Who's got the record of success that's due respect and the attention needed to run for president? Who's got nothing to lose but knows that our very sovereignty is to gain? Who'd be beholden to no one but we, the people? Who is not for sale, not palling around with crony capitalists, in bed with special interests, but screwing the American people? Who's not cuffed by the politically correct police? Well, we wanted someone with guts to say not what he thought we wanted to hear, but really what the nation needs to hear. So yeah, we asked, who's not been part of the problem? Now, 8 years ago, I warned that Barack Obama's promised fundamental transformation of America, it was going to make government bigger and take more from you and give more orders from Washington and really reduce our strength in a dangerous world. And it is the one promise that he kept. And every thinking American now knows the repercussions. So thinking Americans sought and watched Donald Trump rip the veil off a rigged system that has betrayed your average, everyday, hardworking, garden variety, ticked off American. And there are more of us than the disconnected left can ever even fathom. Trump's outsider status, where he explains he got to see how both sides work, that let him become a new standard bearer for a grassroots populist movement that's fertilized by the still passionate Tea Party in all its glorious independence. Voters really disgusted with the audacity of duplicity, where corporate elites bankroll campaigns, and with such disloyalty to the American worker, they actually arrange our political landscapes for their interests. Well, we found a messenger. And he wasn't found among the politicians insisting that they be elected and reelected, lest they have to come home and join us peasants under the laws that they passed but exempted themselves from. Well, armed with secure identities as Americans, people of all persuasions jumped on board the Trump train. Chugging along on the primary trail, defying conventional wisdom of the, I say it with, I guess, all due respect, the loser consultants. And I term them loser consultants because they keep losing election after election after election. It's fitting. Well, defying that wisdom, Trump shattered voter turnout records. And like a golden wrecking ball, he shattered walls in the good old boys club. He knocked out the hypocritical intolerance that dares stymie freedom of speech with intimidation and those false accusations of sexism and racism just to stop debate. Now, those accusers, we saw a bunch of them this morning coming out of the hotel. Those accusers are the silly protesters at Trump rallies. We've been telling him he should hold his rallies at his construction sites. Protesters aren't going to show up at a job site. Did you know some of those rebel rousers, they're actually paid protesters? So there you go, not even president yet, and our guy's already creating jobs. Well, they have tried that tired, worn, war on women warpath to jump on, and I asked, Trump supporters? We're anti-woman? Huh? Anti-liberal woman who blew it in Benghazi and BS'd in Bosnia and buffaloed business with her quid pro quo deals and hid emails in some dude's bathroom. That kind of woman? Yeah, sure. But women in general, certainly not. Well, momentum on this train, it built as the GOP wing of the good old boys club whispered actually that they'd throw in for Hillary against the will of the people in their own primary. And this exposed the establishment's con game. I know none of you are a part of it, or you wouldn't be here today, again, fighting for what's right. I hope you're not part of it, or you're going to be really ticked off at me with what I say next. The establishment's con game. See, more Americans were learning it doesn't matter to the Beltway bubble boys and girls which side actually wins elections, as long as they get to keep their titles and their ratings and their power and their purses full. They win and we lose. Well, we drove right over that, and we drove over those desperate darts flying at our front runner, like the critics crying, "Oh, Trump's not conservative enough." What would they know about common sense conservatism? What does handing Obama a blank check to run up trillion-dollar deficits with no end in sight, and pushing endless wars with no path to victory, and inviting millions of unvetted illegals through our Swiss cheese borders to replace American workers, and wanting amnesty for millions of new Democrat voters? What's that got to do with conservatism? The establishment, those profiles and pudding, they bent over for all those things, and now they fret about ideological purity? Well, they got busted. So they panicked, and then they started feeding the left this idea that, well, all we had to fuel this movement was anger. Really, that's some gall that they're lecturing us that we're too passionate about our country. Yeah, they stomp on our neck and then tell us to just chill out. Well, darn right, voters are mad. It's righteous indignation. But what the professional political class really can't handle is knowing really that the movement is more than anger. It's an optimistic, sensible, building up the people agenda, and that is good change. But to them, it's a threat. You know who's threatened? Those GOPers who insist that they'll never vote for their party's choice this time. They call themselves, that gang, they call themselves the never hashtag, the whatever. Okay. Oh, well, I just call them Republicans Against Trump, or RAT for short. They want to take their Nuggets ball home and stay home instead of vote because their guy didn't win this time around. Now, I shouldn't call them thumbsuckers because they're not all bad. I'm kidding, they are. And Hillary thanks them because she cannot win without them. Folks, we're talking about our sovereignty here, our solvency and security, our entire invaluable system of law and order in a republic bought with patriots and vets, blood, sweat, and tears. This isn't a game, nor some drama to be played out on the convention stage. No, they're playing with dynamite and arming those opposed to the planks in the platform upon which Lincoln and Reagan stood. We're talking about the direction of our country, our children's future, the direction of the Supreme Court, all of this hinging on the next election. And at such a time as this, you cannot be lukewarm. We're going to take our country back, and you're either with us or you're against us. We'll take it back from those who lie, the professional politicos who really don't suffer but profit with open borders. They don't suffer but profit moving jobs overseas. They don't suffer but profit when lobbyists push reckless foreign policy. They profit from boondoggles like the Republicans' omnibus and Democrats' Obamacare, who give lip service to an oath in office, but really we can't even trust them right now to defend our rights. Look at the Second Amendment attacks recently. After Obamacare's lie, did we not learn? His lie that, you like your doc, you can keep your doc. Now it's you like your Glock, you can keep your Glock. Well, after being beaten down and divided up, voters sought plans then to rebuild our United States. We looked for a builder. We found a builder. Trump looks up and he builds big. Ask yourself, what have his critics ever built? And Trump connects. An unabashed billionaire. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Yet he still respects our hard hats and steel-toed boots. He knows that men in denim built this country, but DC suits and pantsuits destroy it. He gratefully shakes the skilled calloused hand and hugs tight the essential blue collar. And he salutes in awe of sacrifice the American in uniform. It's connection through appreciation. He's not running because he's bedazzled by the trappings of office. No, sincerely, he is in awe of the beauty of all of you, of everyone willing to do their part to restore America, to make it great again. He's on the side of Joe Sixpack, where I come from, and he says to us, I worked hard, I succeed, I want you to succeed too. And knowing what it takes, he says, I want you to work. And here's how we'll do it together to make America great again. And that is the fabric of America's character, woven by work ethic and dreams and drive. That's America. And that's what the media is missing, and what the group, many participants in the group I just spoke to, that's what they're missing. They don't get it. No, we defend him, media. We defend him because he defends us. Take those, the ugly charge of racism. This is so ridiculous. Trump has been covered in the spotlight for decades. Years and years, showing so many of his friends and colleagues of every race, color, and creed, great relationships with them all. And see, the press knows that, because they're the ones who did the covering of him. And Trump was never called a racist until he decided to run against the Democrats. And that's the way that the dirty side of this business works. Believe me. So, now, with him, we who are determined to clean up the crap spewed by hypocrites playing politics of personal destruction, no, together we call them out. We call out the liars, because we're going to make America great again. And this movement is exactly that. And this movement is about the providence honored in our Constitution. Trump is with us in withholding the oath, swearing to uphold what it is that has created our declarations of liberty. Trump will put America's blueprint first to strengthen us, especially as we face existential threats that others would ignore. The biggest, most sinister threat, it's Islamic ideology, that is ISIS. That is the death cult. The death cult that isn't even acknowledged with accurate verbiage from leftists with their heads left in the sand. And despite all the bloody evidence of a ghastly dogma, Obama won't admit that Islam put the I in ISIS. It is a clash of civilization that is our long twilight struggle. But if you transplant to your shores a foreign population that is hostile to the very things that your country stands for, you won't have a country for long. You can't have peaceful democracy with people who hate democracy, or a culture respecting life with anyone who would love death more than life. And that's not hate speech, it's common sense. As is understanding that when someone screams allegiance to Sharia law and screeches Allah Akbar, death to America, he means you and yours. What does the left think that he means? Well, because of all this, the movement grew, with Americans really getting sick and tired of those accusations of being anti-legal immigrant. We are a nation so generous in humanitarianism. We've taken in 6 times more migrants than all of Latin America combined. We look up at Lady Liberty and we read, she is inviting the tired, the poor, the huddled masses. But we don't stop there. We keep reading. Read the rest. She's saying, welcome, you yearning to breathe free. Those who don't yearn for America's freedoms, sustained by following our rule of law, but instead yearn for child brides and female mutilation and killing all gays and non-believers and refusing assimilation and demanding that the American culture change into the culture that they claim they had to escape from. No, our national instinct to do good is beautiful, but that kind of humanitarianism, it's self-destructive. So too is straying from what we know works economically, time-tested economic truths that have been able to build this country and allow us to be prosperous. We desperately need leaders who understand conditions that create wealth and that they will favor those conditions. And that's energy independence, and it's limited government, letting the private sector innovation soar. That creates opportunities. That's what creates jobs and less entitlement mentality that is eroding America's work ethic. No, those time-tested economic truths, applying those and having a leader who understands it and has never been addicted to opium, other people's money. Opium is what we call it. Other people's money that politicians have been for too long addicted to. Not having that experience in the private sector to understand how to balance a budget. You know, those who are writing the paychecks and not taking from you and giving to others in really a socialist bent. Well, America wins by applying those time-tested economic truths that we know work. Right now, our nation, though, is not really winning. $20 trillion in debt with no end in sight, and enemies laughing at us, and allies not being able to trust us. We're going to get trampled if we just hire more of the same for more politics as usual. That's insane. Trump is winning because he will put you first, for Americans win again. It's why his rallies are all about winning. They're rowdy and they're fun and they're energizing. You've seen some of the left's rallies? Cranky, demanding, shrill. Vote for me. I make no sense and I'll never have to explain myself, but vote for me and you'll get all this free stuff. Those rallies? Hey, that's what happens when every kid gets a trophy. Speaking on behalf of so many Americans, Colorado, I can't thank you enough for being in the fight for what is right and wanting to find someone to serve for the right reasons, not expecting to make a penny off of us like too many politicians are doing today, but instead, with a servant's heart. You don't have to be doing this for us. We should be thankful. Thank you for putting up with some of the things that you have to put up with amongst our own tent. I'm glad the tent is growing, though. I'm glad the tent is growing with people understanding, these common sense, time-tested principles and truths that will make America great again. We'll apply those. We just needed that revolutionary who's in the right position to lead us to that. So it's really, really good to be among friends here today, Colorado. It is you fueling the movement to get us going in the right direction. The vigilant hopped on and shocked the political class because it was the disaffected majority that they had left behind. More are coming aboard, telling the driver, Mr. Trump, carry our standard into battle. We're silenced no more. Thank you, Colorado, from the bottom of my heart. God bless you and God bless the United States of America.
Please welcome again the chairman of the Western Conservative Summit, Jeff Hunt.
Wasn't that incredible? Sarah Palin. Wow. That was remarkable. She was one of...
Please welcome again the chairman of the Western Conservative Summit, Jeff Hunt.
Wasn't that incredible? Sarah Palin. Wow. That was remarkable. She came 2 years ago and did a fantastic job. We wanted to bring her back. Thank you for such a warm welcome. But she just hit a home run. What a great, great speech. Very proud of her. Want to talk about a few things real quick, and then we'll keep going. This year we're going to be doing the vice presidential straw poll. So in past years we've done presidential straw polls, except for in 2012 when Governor Romney had the nominee. We did a vice presidential straw poll. The world wants to know who you think the next vice president of the United States should be. So during free time, go out to the lobby. There's 2 iPads out there. You can vote for who you would like to be Donald Trump's running mate, okay? And that's going to be big when we announce that. So we want to hear from you, so make sure you vote out there. That's very, very important. Also, we have our own Summit app. So make sure you download the Summit app. It's called Guidebook. And when you search in Google Play or the iPhone store, you can download Guidebook and then type in WCS 16 as the passphrase, and you'll be able to download the Western Conservative Summit app. It has all the details about different breakout sessions, that type of information. So make sure you do that. I'm going to bring up, again, the Legacy Quartet, so please join me in welcoming Legacy.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us pledge allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, while we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountain, America, America to the ocean, America white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America. God bless America. God bless America. My home.
was great. Thank you, Legacy Quartet. On Saturday, we're going to honor Dennis Prager during the Stephen H. Long dinner on Saturday night. This is an annual award that we give out during our banquet dinner that's given to someone that provides exceptional visionary leadership in America. Dennis Prager is a nationally syndicated radio host, but he also created this YouTube channel called Prager University. Has anyone ever seen Prager University before? Yeah. We're going to show a video from Prager University because what Dennis has done with this YouTube channel is remarkable. Hundreds of millions of views all around small 5-6 minute clips that promote conservative values. He is shaping the culture. And shaping the culture is so critical to what we want to do. Writing a floor speech, arguing on the floor of the House or Senate is important, very important. But if we really want to advance conservatism, we have to get to what people consume freely. We need to go upstream of politics into culture. We know this. Oftentimes we battle against Hollywood because Hollywood pushes this liberal agenda that we sit back and we watch this with our kids and we go, what the heck is going on? So Dennis Prager has been challenging this and going against the culture by creating these little clips. And in a few minutes, we're going to show one of these clips, which is one of my favorites. It's by Dennis Prager, and it talks about the Ten Commandments and the impact of the Ten Commandments. So do we have Mr. Prager's video ready, team? I think they're loading it still. Mr. Trump's on his way.
In world history.
There we go. Thank you.
So changed the world for the better, as did the Ten Commandments. Western civilization, the civilization that developed universal human rights, created women's equality, ended slavery, created parliamentary democracy, among other unique achievements, would not have developed without them. As you will see when each of the Ten Commandments is explained, these commandments are as relevant today as when they were given over 3,000 years ago. In fact, they're so relevant that the Ten Commandments are all that is necessary to make a good world, a world free of tyranny and cruelty. Imagine for a moment a world in which there was no murder or theft. In such a world, there would be no need for armies or police or weapons. Men and women and children could walk anywhere at any time of day or night without any fear of being killed or robbed. Imagine further a world in which no one coveted what belonged to their neighbor, a world in which children honored their mother and father and the family unit thrived, a world in which people obeyed the injunction not to lie. The recipe for a good world is all there in these 10 sublime commandments. But there is a catch. The Ten Commandments are predicated on the belief that they were given by an authority higher than any man, any king, or any government. That's why the sentence preceding the Ten Commandments asserts the following: God spoke all these words. You see, if the Ten Commandments, as great as they are, were given by any human authority, then any person could say, who is this man Moses? Who is this king or queen? Who is this government to tell me how I should behave? Okay, so why is God indispensable to the Ten Commandments? Because, to put it as directly as possible, if it isn't God who declares murder wrong, murder isn't wrong. Yes, this strikes many people today as incomprehensible, even absurd. Many of you are thinking, is this guy saying you can't be a good person if you don't believe in God? Let me respond as clearly as possible. I am not saying that. Of course there are good people who don't believe in God, just as there are bad people who do. And many of you are also thinking, I believe murder is wrong. I don't need God to tell me. Now, that response is only half true. I have no doubt that if you're an atheist and you say that you believe murder is wrong, You believe murder is wrong. But forgive me, you do need God to tell you. We all need God to tell us. You see, even if you figured out murder is wrong on your own, without God and the Ten Commandments, how do you know it's wrong? Not believe it's wrong, I mean know it's wrong. The fact is, you can't. Because without God, right and wrong are just personal beliefs, personal opinions. I think shoplifting is okay, you don't. Unless there is a God, all morality is just opinion and belief. And virtually every atheist philosopher has acknowledged this. Another problem with the view that you don't need God to believe that murder is wrong is a lot of people haven't shared your view. And you don't have to go back very far in history to prove this. In the 20th century, millions of people in communist societies and under Nazism killed about 100 million people. And that doesn't count a single soldier killed in war. So don't get too confident about people's ability to figure out right from wrong without a higher authority. It's all too easy to be swayed by a government or a demagogue or an ideology, or to rationalize that the wrong you're doing isn't really wrong. And even if you do figure out what is right and wrong, God is still necessary. People who know the difference between right and wrong do the wrong thing all the time. You know why? Because they can. They can because they think no one is watching. But if you recognize that God is the source of moral law, you believe that He is always watching. So even if you're an atheist, you would want people to live by the moral laws of the Ten Commandments. And even an atheist has to admit that the more people who believe God gave them, and therefore they are not just opinion, the better the world would be. In 3,000 years, no one has ever come up with a better system than the God-based Ten Commandments for making a better world, and no one ever will. I'm Dennis Prager. Join Prager University, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and sign up for free at prageru.com.
Great. You can see why we gave Dennis Prager that award. He's pushing back on that. So if you do want to attend the banquet dinner Saturday night, you still can buy a ticket. Just make sure you go out to the Centennial Institute booth out there. You can still join us tomorrow night with Mr. Prager. Mr. Trump is on his way. We got word that he has landed and he's on his way. So we're just waiting for him to arrive. He's going to come straight in, no pictures. He's coming straight in to give the speech. So we'll get him out here as soon as he arrives here. In the meantime, we'll have the Legacy Quartet come back up and entertain us with some of their good music. Thanks.
We are so blessed to be here with you today. We are Legacy Quartet, and my name is Steve Taylor. I'm Dean of the School of Music at Colorado Christian University. And for the past 7 years, we have had the honor of being at every single summit. And this one, we are so excited about, and we're so glad of what the Lord is doing in our city, in our country, and at our university. So thank you so much for being here and for allowing us to be here with you. And anyone who's interested in music, I'd love to talk with you about the offerings we have at Colorado Christian University. This next song we'd like to do for you, I'm going to ask Doug Filter, our first tenor, to introduce.
So this is a song we do in some of our concerts all over the world. And we were just in South Korea back in November for our 7th tour. And it's crazy, but the South Koreans love Southern gospel music, which is what our primary genre is. And, you know, the first time I went to South Korea, it was a little unnerving for me because culturally it just seemed super, super foreign to me. I didn't know what to expect. But when we got there, realized that they are wonderful, wonderful people, and they actually love America, which that was pretty awesome. And so we have much more in common than we do different. And we learn that we serve the very same God on this side of the planet or that side of the planet. They have issues just like we have issues. And we learn that through serving our Lord Jesus Christ, that He is our rock and He is our shelter in times of storm.
He's a rock. He's a rock. Jesus is a rock. He's a rock. A shelter in time of storm.
The Lord's our rock. In Him we hide.
A shelter
in the time of storm.
I will be secure, 'cause He's a rock.
Whatever ill betide.
A shelter in the time of storm. Whoa,
Jesus is a rock in a weary land. A weary land, here in this weary land. Oh, Jesus is a rock in a weary land. A shelter in the time of storm. He's my shelter.
Jesus is a rock. He's a rock.
He's a rock.
Of storm. Ba-da, ba-da-da. Shy night. He's
We didn't practice this one. I'm sorry. But we can...
Let's do that again.
We'll just do it again. Yeah.
That's what happens when you haven't sung a song like that for a little while.
He's a rock.
He's a rock.
Jesus is a rock. He's a rock. A shelter in time of storm.
The Lord's our rock, in Him we hide.
A shelter
in the time of storm.
I will be secure, 'cause He's a rock.
Whatever ill betide.
A shelter in the time of storm. Whoa, Jesus is a rock in a weary land. A weary land, here in this weary land. Oh, Jesus is a rock in a weary land. A shelter
in the time of storm.
He's a rock. Jesus is a rock. He's a rock. A shelter in time of storm.
The shade by day, defense by night. He's a shelter in the time of storm.
No fears,
no fears alarm, no foes of fright.
A shelter in the time of storm. Whoa, Jesus is a rock in a weary land. A weary land, here in this weary land. Oh, Jesus is a rock in a weary land. A shelter in the time of storm. He's my shelter. The raging storms may round us.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are joining us live. We are waiting for the presumptive GOP nominee, Mr. Donald Trump, to join the Western Conservative Summit in Denver, Colorado. Like we were saying, we just got finished watching Sarah Palin speak here at the conference, and she did a masterful job. Once again, she reminded people about what she told a long time ago, that Barack Obama, it was the worst person to be in charge of this nation. And now we have Hillary Clinton. We don't need Hillary Clinton in charge of this country. We need Donald Trump. We need that business expertise. We need the negotiation. We need the patriotic American spirit that Donald Trump has. And we need that right now, but we need it over everything, especially with the Loretta Lynch situation going on, the Hillary Clinton situation going on, the Barack Obama. Too many scandals. It's just been too many damn scandals going on in this administration. And Cole, I have Cole McNeely with me, and I have Cam with me right now. We're waiting for Donald Trump to show up for the Western Conservative Summit. If you want to call in real quick, we're taking phone calls, 202-470-6738, 202-470-6738. But Cam, we have we have Donald Trump that is everybody's saying that he's behind, but we aren't listening to these polls, right?
I don't listen to a thing that the media says whatsoever. Like we've been saying on the show for a long time, the media uses the propaganda from the elites to try to push their narrative. Right. I think if we had a real legitimate poll that had hundreds of thousands of people, we'd probably see the real answers. But you cannot deny, and this is why the media doesn't even show his rallies. You have tens of thousands of people showing up at his rallies. And you even have other foreign governments agreeing with some of the things that he's saying because he's right every time. I don't believe we're sick and tired of the mainstream media. That's why when we get on a roll, we ban the mainstream media. We are banning CNN, and we're hitting the media at their pocketbooks because that's where they suffer the most. But these polls, some of them are complete jokes. And unless we call them out on it, and it's our responsibility now to fact check the media because they're putting out false lies.
And you know what? We have a caller calling in. We have a caller calling in here on the RSBN network. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, Rod. I am calling from North Carolina.
And what do you think Mr. Trump is going to talk about when he stands on the stage at the Western Conservative Summit?
I believe he will really talk about the importance of values in our society and the big problem of how believing that everything is subjective has really hurt Western society and Western values, because we need to believe in something, and again, we need to have some sort of basic family structure for our society to grow and for people to have happy lives.
Well, hey, North Carolina, thank you for your call. We are taking phone calls before Donald Trump speaks at the Western Conservative Summit. We want to hear from you because your voice matters. Your voice matters because you have seen so much happen in this country that you have been against, and you have not been able to say anything. And now that Donald Trump is here, he's ready to take the reins. He's ready to fix America with your help. Remember, he said he's with you. So that means you have to be with him. We also have Mike calling in. What's up? How are you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Wayne? How y'all doing?
This
is 9 Fathoms calling from RSBN.
Yep. And what do you think Mr. Trump's going to talk about today at the Western Conservative Summit?
Not really too sure, man. I'm interested in hearing him talk. He did a pretty good job the other day when he had that sort of close get-together speak talk, and I'm sort of hoping he repeats it today. Hey, but I did come up with some new Hillary Kool-Aid flavors. You want to hear them?
Very quickly, go.
All right, man. We got Huckleberry Hillary. We have Tarmac Tangerine, Crooked Cranberry, Bosnia Blast, Fruity Foundation, Mama Mal Melon, No Class Nectarine, Cherry Chuckles, and the best one, Billy's Banana.
Hey, man. Look. Thank you, man, for calling in. Ladies and gentlemen, the phone number here is 202-470-6738. We're taking phone calls. We want to hear what you think that Mr. Trump is going to speak about at the Western Conservative Summit. Carla, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hi. My name is Chamika.
Say that
Hello?
again? Yeah, say that again. Your name is?
My name is Chamika. I'm calling from California.
Hi, Miss California.
Hi. I want to donate money to Donald Trump campaign, but I don't know how to do that. And can you please tell Sean Hannity in his program to announce that? Then there are so many people I know they want to donate money to Donald Trump campaign. And we don't know how to do.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you go to DonaldJTrump.com, DonaldJTrump.com, you'll be able to donate or to make a contribution to the campaign. DonaldJTrump.com.
DonaldJ.com?
DonaldJTrump.com.
Okay.
Thank you, dear. All right. Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen of the Right Side Broadcasting Network, we are here waiting for the presumptive GOP nominee to join us here at the Western Conservative Summit. in Denver, Colorado. I have on my co-host, Miss Cam Nelson out of California. Say hello, Cam.
Hey, that just shows you when we have people calling in with a Spanish accent that they can just toss that Hispanics are not for Trump.
Exactly.
Just to throw that in there.
That's true. And then we also have our millennial that is also here on the show, Mr. Cole McNeely.
Well, Wayne, I can tell you, we might question some of the polls out there, but from looking at that chat room, I think it'd be a pretty fair guess to say what they want is for you to start singing some of these songs, man.
Oh, really? God bless America, land that I love.
And you know what, Wade? You have every right to sing that. You know why? You are a veteran of the United States of America. Right. You served in our military, so who better than to sing about the United States and back Donald Trump than you?
Thank you, dear. I mean, I enjoyed serving in the United States Air Force. I was in there for 8 years, served in Operation Desert Storm, Desert Shield with the F-117A stealth fighter unit. The only thing I didn't like it about it is that we had to work at night, but, whatever. Hey, caller, we have, caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Bob from the Great Northwest.
What's up, Bob? What do you think Mr. Trump is going to talk about today at the Western Conservative Summit in Colorado?
All positive, but I just wanted to get a word out to a bunch of folks out there as much as possible that a confession to make. I voted for Obama round one. Was tired of the Bushes, voted for Obama, and now I voted for Romney. I'm 100% behind Trump.
Well, you know what? I appreciate your honesty.
And I think I'm one of those new Republicans, those people who are just being swayed by the chaos of government right now.
Well, you know what? I thank you for your honesty, because a whole lot of people are afraid to come out and say that they were a Democrat and that they voted for Obama and that they are going to vote for Donald Trump right now. But I thank you for your honesty, and I thank you for your forwardness, and thank you for calling in. Caller, what's your name, or where are you calling from?
My name is Andreas. I'm calling from Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Oh, you're in Colorado right now. Okay.
I made it to the summit there, but I'm just going to watch it on YouTube instead.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. How is the atmosphere? Do you know?
It's pretty overcast today. A little bit of rain.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, well, I'll tell you what. We have a little problem with your phone connection, but we do know that you're from.
I'm sorry, I had it on speaker. There you go.
But we do know that you're from Colorado, and we do appreciate your call, and thank you so much.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are taking phone calls before the presumptive GOP nominee, Donald Trump, steps to the stage to once again delight his supporters with a message of hope for America, and that's something that we need. We have another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Christina. I'm calling from Lexington, Kentucky. Horse country.
All right, I love Kentucky, especially that bluegrass. What? Why are you calling in? And so why are you calling in, Miss Lady?
First of all, I want to say, how can you trust a poll from a liberal anyway?
Yeah, you know what? You just hit it right on the head. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I hope Donald Trump talks about bringing conservatives together today, and I think that really is something. I think that Sarah Palin hit it right on the head with the rats, and these never Trump people are idiots. So I hope today he kind of concentrates a little more about bringing all the conservatives together, and it talks more about that, and maybe even some of bringing the Christian values and how he's going to, because
Good morning. I expect this next hour to be relatively commercial free, but I thought I would like to start with a public service announcement, so here it is. I will follow future Senator Lieutenant Colonel Darrell Glenn into any fight he wants to fight to preserve a conservative Supreme Court. I believe in Darrell Glenn, and I know that he loves our country. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make America great again. This journey will be the ultimate test for free market principles. Our Creator gave us the greatest piece of real estate on this planet, so we should probably elect a president who knows something about real estate in order for us to leverage it into strong economic growth. By the way, it's not just real estate. It's real estate that holds the potential to solve our greatest problems because it has a vast array of minerals. It has timber and water and oil and gas. It has coal, the cleanest coal in the country, right here in Colorado. And we've got the soil to grow food in our agricultural industry, and we have many other advantages that we need to take advantage of. What we must do now is use those assets to solve our own problems first, and then negotiate how we trade with the rest of the world. Because you know what? It's always easier to negotiate when you're in a position of strength. Let's hire a great negotiator as President of the United States. A negotiator who understands that borders matter, and also what it means to have the better hand in a deal, so we stop giving away things that we don't need to give away and that ultimately hurt us, like giving nuclear weapons to a terrorist state called Iran. In this country, we have great universities and highly educated people along with exciting entrepreneurs, and their talent can create amazing tools and technologies to increase our quality of life and fix some of the biggest healthcare problems. The next decade and a half in America will be the greatest period of innovation in our history. But it can only happen if we understand that America works best when entrepreneurs are trusted to create a better future for us, not stifled by onerous regulation. Guess what? We should hire an entrepreneur and a builder to be president. One who understands what I'm talking about and who knows that successful risk-taking and overcoming failure without a bailout is part of what made America great in the first place. And guess what we don't need? We don't need someone who has sat inside a political bubble their entire life and never created a private sector job. Okay, maybe hiring a guy to maintain an email server off the books is a private sector job, but I'm not going to count that one until the FBI holds her responsible for it. We also don't need someone who thinks a free market is something Bernie Sanders created to distribute textbooks and college tuition at no cost. My fellow Americans, we must boldly move forward because we can. That is who we are and how we confront problems. For the past 7 years, we've been timid, passive, reluctant to claim our leadership role in the world. Well, I'm here to tell you that time has passed. Now it's time for 300 million Americans to dream of the life they want, to pursue the things that make them happy, because you know what? It's the pursuit of happiness that leads someone to understand why life and liberty are so important. As Gene Cernan, the last man to walk on the moon, said, "If I can go to the moon, what can't you do?" And I agree with Gene. The question now is, where will we decide to go? And who will lead us? I'm telling you that I believe we need a leader who understands the value of America's assets, one who can negotiate from a position of strength, one that has earned through that position of strength that has been earned by the sacrifices made by men and women who serve our nation so admirably. We need a leader who understands entrepreneurship and innovation, who has created private sector jobs and fought against the regulations that limit the success of inspired people. And you know what? We need a leader who's bold enough to let the world know that America is back. Because you know what? We will be better served and the world will be better served when we make America great again. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm Colorado welcome to the next President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
For those who've abandoned hope, We'll restore hope and we'll welcome them into a great national crusade to make America great again.
I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created.
We begin with breaking news. Our NBC News decision desk has confirmed that Donald Trump has reached the number of delegates needed to clinch the Republican nomination for president.
The American dream is dead. But if I get elected president, I will bring it back bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and we will make America great again. We are going to make our country great again. We're going to take our country back from these people. We're going to take it back.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next president of the United States, Donald Trump.
Thank you very much, everybody. Oh, if I knew they had these teleprompters, I would have used them. I'm starting to love those teleprompters. You know, it's interesting. It's much easier when you have a teleprompter, and I'm getting great reviews with the teleprompters. When you stand up and you just go at it, it's much more exciting, however, I want to tell you. I think this crowd, I know the folks from Colorado and they're wild. I think if I used a teleprompter with this crowd, they'd be out of here fast. They'd say, let's get out of here. So I just want to thank, this is a tremendous crowd. We really appreciate it. Set up pretty quickly. Wow. So Colorado taught me a lot about politics. I learned a lot because polls came out that I was going to win Colorado and doing really well in Colorado and look good, and I was looking forward to it. And then all of a sudden I didn't get the delegates. I said, but what happened to the vote? Do you remember? And I started to learn. You know, quick learner. I'm a quick learner, but that was an amazing week. You remember that? And we had some of you folks probably were out there with a little picketing and a little craziness, and I think they'll probably end up changing. I think they're going to change it next year, and I think you're going to go out and actually vote. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So you see what's happening, and I always say the system's rigged. It's rigged, and it's rigged against the people. It's not rigged for the special interests and the lobbyists and people that want certain things. I used to be one of them. Once I said, I'm running, all of a sudden I was like an outsider, a big outsider. But I'm glad I did it. Because you know what we have? We have a movement going on like they haven't seen maybe ever in this country, according to what the pundits are saying. And I tell the story where numerous people, Bill O'Reilly, not so long ago, a few weeks ago, said, it may be the single greatest political phenomena that I've seen in my lifetime. He was talking about his lifetime. And I said, wow, that's a lot of phenomena you've seen. But numerous other people have said it too. And here we stand, and there you stand and sit. Oh, you're able to sit. Oh, that's good. See, we supply chairs. How many people do that? Nobody else supplies chairs. Nobody else does that. Only Trump. Only Trump. That's good. These lights are so bright, I can hardly see who's out. That's a good crowd of people. Wow. That's great. And thank you. Thank you very much. But the system is rigged. And, you know, we went through the primary system, and we did have problems here because, you know, it wasn't a vote. And somebody said I did really well in the polls, and as soon as they saw how well I did in the polls, they went to a delegate system where they just appoint the delegates, and it's all right. It all worked out well. It all worked out well. You know what? In the end, it doesn't matter. Here we are, right? It doesn't matter. And you have some terrific people in the state. Very smart, very good. And they're going to really be helping us in November and before November. But I know how hard they're working in Colorado. And we're going to have I think we're going to have a tremendous victory here. A couple of things before I really get going. Colorado, NRA, they're like synonymous. The NRA endorsed me. We're going to save your Second Amendment 100%. We're saving your Second Amendment. And I have to tell you, the NRA, these are terrific people. They're terrific people. They love the country. And they take a lot of heat. And they don't have the easiest job, I will tell you. But they love the country. Wayne and Chris and all of the other people I've met from the NRA. And they gave me, I think, the earliest endorsement they've ever given under these circumstances. And they gave me a very early endorsement. I was very honored by it. But I've gotten to know them. And they love our country. Okay? They love the Second Amendment, but they love our country. So you have to remember that about the NRA, because what they do is not easy. It's not easy. And they're saving the Second Amendment for you. So just remember that. And I'm going to be representing them very well in that regard. The other that we have to talk about is the evangelicals have been so amazing to me. We had an event the other day in New York, right? Any evangelicals in the room? Any evangelicals? But we had an event, and Ben Carson called me, who was a great guy. We love Ben Carson. And he called and he said, you know, Donald, I'd love you to get with the evangelical leaders and Christian leaders all throughout the United States. Not a big deal. It'll take you maybe 15 or 20 minutes. But maybe you could see them, and maybe, I think it's a good thing for you to do. Now, I've won with the evangelicals in many, many of the states. South Carolina and Nevada and like all over the place. We've had great, great success. The South, Alabama, Arkansas, all over. And we've had unbelievable relationships and unbelievable success. But Ben wanted me to do it. As you know, when Ben got out, and he did really well. He was tough. He was a great competitor. He did really, really well when he ran. And he got out, and he called me, and he said, I love what's going on. You have a movement going on. This isn't like a normal thing. This is a movement. I would love to endorse you. I said, Ben, I would love to have your endorsement. Plenty of people are calling saying we want to endorse you, and it's never been that important to me. I will say this, Bobby Knight in Indiana was important, right? Bobby Knight was important. But I said, I'd love to endorse you. Then he comes up and he goes, I'd love to meet. Now, it's not a big deal. Maybe 150, maybe 200 people. And they can be here in a month in New York, but it would be a great thing. So all of a sudden, the time comes, and my people come in. They say, Mr. Trump, you won't believe it. It's packed. I said, I'll believe it, because it's always packed. But it's the largest group of clergy, ministers, pastors, evangelicals, Christians, the largest group they've ever had by far, over 1,000. And they wanted to know, could we take 2 to 3 hours? So this was the 50. Ben is one of the greatest salesmen I know, right? He said, small group, 15 minutes. Turned out to be a large group, 3 hours. But it was an amazing event. It was an amazing, and I learned, but it was just an incredible group of people. Franklin Graham was there, and Jerry Falwell Jr. from Liberty College, who's a fantastic guy, and so many people, friends, real friends. Ralph Reed. We've had so many friends and people that have really been helpful to me. And as an example, Liberty College, everybody goes through Liberty College. And we all make a speech. They have one of the most beautiful auditoriums, one of the most beautiful colleges I've ever seen, actually. And one of the most incredible auditoriums. And it holds 12,000 people, something like that. And I have the all-time record for attendance, which is really important. I got that 2 years ago. And I said, is it still intact? They said, yes. And I broke it this time. And I said, good. That's good. And they had closed-circuit television because the room was too small, even as big as it was. In all the classrooms, all over the school, they had closed-circuit television. And we had an amazing time. And to get the support, and everybody went there. I think every candidate went there. and because of what it represents, such importance. And what happened is, in the end, Jerry calls, he says, you know, I want to endorse you. And that had such a huge impact because he's so respected. The school is so respected, the college, the university, so respected. And getting Jerry's support was such a great thing for me. So I just wanted to thank him, but I wanted to thank everybody because that was an amazing day we had about a week ago in New York City. It was packed and it was full of love. I will tell you that. It was full of love. So we'll talk for a little while about what's going on. I'm going to tell you some of the ideas that we want to have. I wrote down some notes in the plane because I didn't know I had this glass standing up here. In fact, it says right now, number 1, number 2. That's not meant for me. I want to thank Sarah Palin for being here because Sarah's great. Well, Sarah's a special person, and Sarah's another one where it came out of the blue. And she liked what I was saying. And she was also close with many of the other people that were running. And the word came back to me that Sarah was very interested. And we called her. And I can tell you there were very, very disappointed people that I was running against. On the Republican side, I'm talking about. And they were very, very disappointed when Sarah came out for me. I'll tell you, that was a big event. And she's so loyal and so amazing, and her family is so amazing. Her husband's an incredible guy. And for her to come here again and to say hello to you folks is just really something special. So I really appreciate that Sarah Palin was able to come here. So I wrote some notes there. Sarah has a big group. We do love Sarah, right? Look at that. Wow. I'm not surprised. For good reason, by the way. So I want to give you some of the goals just quickly and easily, and you'll understand what they are. But, you know, the other night on television I was looking, and certainly terrorism's actually number 2, I was surprised. It'll probably be number 1 pretty soon, because what's going on today in Israel, there was a horrible killing, and then there was another horrible killing in Oregon, and there was another one. I mean, what's going on now is unbelievable. People that shouldn't be allowed in. People that shouldn't be here. And we're going to have strong borders, folks. We're going to have strong borders. We're going to have the wall. And we're going to let people come into our country that should come into our country, and they're going to come into our country legally. They're going to come in legally. And we want them to come in. But they're going to come into our country legally. But one of the things I noticed, because it was on one of the networks where they had them listed in order, and actually they had the economy number 1, and I'm number 1 on the economy. That's good. And in fact, Rasmussen just came out with a poll yesterday afternoon, and Trump is number 1. I'm up 4 points. Can you believe that's not? That's not. We're going to do very well. We're going to do. You know, in the primaries, one after one, bing, bong, bing, and people said, "What happened?" Just one after another. And, you know, we have the right message. And I'm just the messenger. I'm doing a good job as a messenger, I will say, okay? But I'm just a messenger, believe me. It's what I'm saying. It's what I'm saying about what's going on. And it's getting stronger. I think the message is getting stronger. We're being destroyed by trade, which we'll talk about. We're being destroyed at our borders, which we'll talk about. And we're allowing people to come into our country from Syria and other places that shouldn't be allowed to come into our country. We have no idea who they are, where they're from. We have no idea what's going on. They have no paperwork. They have no documentation. They could be ISIS. I used to say they're probably not, but now I say many of them probably are. You see what's happening in Germany. You see what's happening in Sweden. You see what's happening in some of these countries where they're taking them in. It's a nightmare. And I have a bigger heart than anybody, or as big as anybody in this room. And I will tell you, we're going to do safe zones in Syria. We're going to get other people to pay for them. The Gulf states have a lot of money. People don't ask them to pay. Trump is going to ask them to pay. You're going to have to pay. And we'll get it done. Believe me, we'll get it done. So one thing I just wanted to say, we're going to repeal and replace Obamacare. Healthcare was third on the list. And honestly, I was surprised to see it. Healthcare on this list. It was the economy, it was terrorism, and it was healthcare, which tells you something. You know, in Texas, they go through Blue Cross Blue Shield. They had a 60% increase. You're going to have an increase like you've never seen before on November 1st. Now, they're trying to delay the increase till after the election. We can't let that happen because this increase is an election-changing increase. Now, I hope we don't even need that. But this is an election-changing increase that you're going to get. I'm hearing numbers like higher than the numbers in Texas. So 60% in Texas going through Blue Cross, Blue Shield. You got the Obamacare. 60% increase. Think of it. Think of it. Unimaginable. Well, it's also horrible because your premiums are going up, your deductibles are through the roof, and unless you die a really, really severe long-term death, you're not going to use it because your deductibles are so high. Your deductibles are through the roof, and people don't even get to use it. So they're paying more than ever, and they don't get to use it. And we're going to change that. We're going to repeal and replace Obamacare, and we're going to get something so much better and so much less expensive. Okay. I already talked about the fact we're going to save the Second Amendment, right? That's a biggie. We're going to eliminate job-killing regulations. The regulations in this country are killing us. We're going to have massive tax reform and simplification, a big lowering of the taxes, the biggest of anybody by far. Hillary Clinton is raising your taxes. She's raising your taxes substantially, and there won't be simplification. We're lowering your taxes. You watch what's going to happen with the economy. We're lowering your taxes, big league, and tremendous simplification. We're lowering business taxes. We're going to allow money. We have trillions of dollars outside of the United States owned by really the corporations have this money. They can't get it back into the country. And everybody agrees, Republicans, Democrats, that it should come back in. They can't make a deal. That's a deal that would take 5 minutes sitting around a room. But there's no leadership. So we have trillions of dollars. Who would not want to make that deal? They say $2.5 trillion. I say it's over $5 trillion. But whatever it is, it's massive. And companies, corporate inversion. Companies are leaving the United States because taxes are too high. But they're also leaving to get their money. They can't get their money back in. So they leave to get their money. So it's crazy. We're going to appoint Supreme Court justices who you're going to be very happy with. Such a big thing. And these are justices that will uphold the Constitution of the United States and fully uphold it, right? And you know what's going to happen. And I sort of get a kick. You have these people. Look, it was a tough campaign. It was a brutal campaign. Some of the people that do this professionally said it was the most brutal campaign in the history of politics in this country. I don't know if that's true or not, but we started off with 17 people, and there were a lot of bad things said, and there was one person that came out, and I understand. I understand. But they were really nasty to me, and I was really nasty to them. And some of them just can't understand the importance of a victory for the Republicans. And one of the best things we can say are the judges, because, we can talk about the strong military. We're going to do all of the things. But the judges, we're going to appoint at least 3. You have Scalia, who is great, and who would have thought that was going to happen? That wasn't going to be for many years. And all of a sudden, Justice Scalia was gone. So you have that one before you start. And then you probably have 2 more. You could even have 3. And you could even have 4 more. I mean, frankly, you got a lot. Probably going to be a record in the history of this country for a president. Could have as many as, you could have, including Justice Scalia, you could have as many as 5. Probably we'll have 3. But that's the difference between having our country as a great country and having Venezuela, okay? And you see what's happening over there. Believe me. Where they're fighting over loaves of bread in the street. I mean, that's a tremendous thing. And what I did, because I've only been doing this for 12 months, so what I've done, in fact, they said one of the articles had, it was 211 years of experience. They added up everybody. They had 211 years versus 11 months. And look who won. Isn't that good? I mean, don't we get credit for that? I think experience is a great thing, but I think we're getting tired of the experience because the experience wasn't working, folks, right? But because of the fact that I haven't been out there as a politician, people know me, but I haven't been out there as a politician, a lot of people have said to me, Senator Sessions, who's a fantastic man, and others, they've said, it wouldn't be bad. And I actually went in with the idea because I was getting criticized. They said, well, what happens if he appoints judges that we don't like? So I went to the Federalist Society, which is sort of the gold standard. Now, Hillary Clinton said the gold standard of trade deals is TPP. Now she's taken that back. You saw that, right? When you mentioned TPP will destroy you, folks. It will destroy. It'll take any vestige that we still have left in our country. It will destroy you. And she said it. Now, what happened is when she heard me being very critical of it, she realized I was right. So she said now she's against it, but she's going to approve it in 2 seconds if she ever won. And that will be as bad or worse than NAFTA, which was, by the way, signed by her husband. Okay? So it will be. So I went out and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick 10 judges or 11 judges and we'll see what happens. And I picked 11, gotten from the Federalist Society, run through by a lot of great politicians that I know that are highly respected, senators and congressmen and great people. And loved, went through Heritage, who's great, Jim DeMint in the group, who's a great guy. Jim is a great guy. We like Jim. Listen to you people. Wow. He is a great guy. Now, we ran him through Heritage, and these are 11 people. I think I'm going to pick 4 more. So I have 15. And I'll pick from that list or people like that, exactly like that. And we're going to have great judges. And it had a big impact. But you still have people out there, and it's just one of those things. One of the things I'm most proud about is that in the history of the Republican Party, with 17 people running, I had the most votes of anybody that's ever run in the primaries. We had almost 14 million votes. Think of it. Won 37 states. Next time it's going to be Colorado, by the way. Colorado is not in that 37. Don't worry. If it was, I'd still be here today. But we had 37 states, and we had the largest number of votes. Now, when you think about it, almost 14 million votes, and it wasn't even close. Ronald Reagan, who we love. You have the Bushes. You have Dwight D. Eisenhower, Richard Nixon, everybody. You have everybody. Just so much more than anybody else. Wasn't even close. But think of it. They would run against 2 people, 1 person, 4 people. When you break that record and you're running against 17 very capable people, that's really a record that is pretty amazing, more amazing than even just winning. So I was very honored by that. We're going to protect our country from terrorism. Okay, folks? We're going to protect our country from terrorism. We are going to be so tough. We are going to be so smart and so vigilant. And we're going to get it so that people turn in people when they know there's something going on. Like in San Bernardino, people saw bombs all over these people's floors. They had bombs all over the floor. They saw it. People saw it. And they talked about racial profiling and profiling. We didn't want to turn them in because we didn't want to get accused of profiling. Give me a break. You know what that is? That's a lawyer telling them, listen, you better say that because otherwise you're in big trouble. But people have to turn people in. And if they don't turn them in, we're going to have so many of these things. What happened in Orlando is disgraceful. Disgraceful that a thing like that can happen. And then they don't want to mention what happened. We have a president that doesn't want to mention what really happened. It's called radical Islamic terrorism, right? That's what happened. And you have crooked Hillary Clinton that didn't want to mention it either, but we shamed her into it, but she still hasn't mentioned it. She said, I will say, and then she didn't quite use the expression the way it should be. But I will say radical Islam. I will say it. Okay? But she's never said it yet. She said she will say it because we shamed her into it. Just like we shamed her into going against TPP. Was that the only reason she didn't do it? She'll do it, but not for the election. Because people are sick and tired of being ripped off with our jobs leaving our states, with our jobs leaving our country, with the money. They get the money, they get the jobs, we get nothing. We get unemployment. That's what we get. We get unemployment and no taxes. And folks, we can solve that situation so easily. That situation is so easily solved. I've been watching for a long time, and I've been watching it very, very closely, how the government is trying to stop jobs from leaving our country. I left yesterday in New Hampshire, where I see building after building just got wiped out. New England, one of the worst places in terms of that. Upstate New York, a disaster. Pennsylvania, a disaster. Maryland, Connecticut, all states that I won in massive numbers. I mean, I had a series of states, 5 or 6 states in a row where I've been devastated, tremendous. We had, but I mean, much, much tighter. So we're going to win what? Colorado, we got to win. We go to Illinois. I'm going to spend time in Illinois. I'm going to spend a lot of time in Michigan. I think we're going to win. I've been talking about cars moving to Mexico, car companies, Ford, moving to Mexico for 2 years, long before I even knew we'd be in this position. Nobody has been better to the state of Michigan and to the car industry than me in terms of what I'm saying and what I'm going to do to get the car companies back, number one, and to keep them from moving, because they're going to continue to move like you've never seen before if I don't win. We're going to have job loss like you've never seen ever before if I don't win. So I think we're going to play great in Michigan. Even in Connecticut, there was a poll that came out. This is a state that I love. I have so many friends that live in Connecticut. But this is a state that a Republican, a traditional Republican, would never spend one afternoon in terms of getting votes. And I'm going to spend a lot of time in Connecticut. And we may even give a shot to New York and California, because we have tremendous crowds. We're getting 30, 35,000 people going to these places. So we're going to play in a lot of states that normally, obviously, Ohio and Pennsylvania and Florida, those are your states that everybody says you have to win, you have to win. But I think we have a lot more leeway than anybody else running for office from the Republican Party, and I think we're going to do great in these places. We want to totally uphold, the rule of law, not being upheld, okay? We want to cut down on the unbelievable crime that's pouring in and the crime rate generally, okay? We want to keep our children safe. We want to keep ourselves safe, but we have to. We have to. So many friends of mine, Jamil, as an example, Shaw, his son was killed by a person that came into this country, an illegal immigrant, should have never, ever been here. Kate, as you remember from San Francisco, shot viciously by somebody that was sent out of the country 5 times and will probably get off. I see the lawyer and they're saying, oh, maybe it wasn't him, and oh, it's terrible. It'll go on for years and years and years, what happened to Kate and so many others. And we're going to have a country where we can be free to walk around and free to walk the streets and free to look at the beautiful Golden Gate Bridge with your father, like Kate was doing, and then shot from nowhere. We're going to have a country that's going to be safe again. Just remember that. We're going to have a country that's going to be safe. And we're not going to play games. We're not going to be politically correct, perhaps. But we're going to have a country that's going to be safe. We're going to make our government so important, responsible to the people, not to the special interests. The special interests control your government, folks. The special interests. I mean, you see what happened today, where Bill Clinton goes in the other day into an airplane. Just happened to be, just a coincidence, you know. He just happened to be at the airport at this time. Think of it. Just happened to be at the airport. You know, when I first heard the story, I said, no, you're kidding. I don't believe it. I thought somebody was joking. But it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's a very serious thing. And to have a thing like that happen is so sad. And as you know, Hillary is so guilty. She's so guilty. I mean, you can read them right off here. And how that's not being pursued properly. And I think that he really opened it up. He opened up a Pandora's box, and it shows what's going on, and it shows what's happening with our laws and with our government. But if you think that he just happened to be at the airport, because nobody really, and he may have, and honestly, he may have left and gone someplace, but it seems like, he's talking about golf and grandchildren. I love my grandchildren so much. But if I talk about them for more than about 9 or 10 seconds, what do we... I love my grandchildren. I love that one. I love that one. I love that one. And look at the beautiful, I love these kids. After that, what are you going to say, right? I love those kids. They're the great 8. I love them. I love my children. I love my children. My children are going to be speaking at the convention. My children are all going to be speaking. Ivanka, Tiffany, Don, Eric, they're going to be speaking. My wife is going to be speaking at the convention. We're going to have a great time. And then you have to talk about golf for the rest of the time. And, I love golf. But after talking for a couple of minutes, it's hard to talk about it much longer than that. And above all, what we're going to do, so important, we're going to put America first. I have to say it. We don't put America first. We don't put America first. We don't put America first. And we have to. So when we look at what's going on in our country, and when we see all of the mistakes that are being made, and we see all of the corruption and all of the horrendous politicians, and by the way, I have to tell you, some great politicians too. I've met some people that are great people. These are great people. And they love the country and they're there for the right reasons. But you meet so many that aren't. You just meet so many that aren't. And we do deal in a rigged system. It's a rigged system. And I learned so much during the primaries. I won, as an example, I won in New Orleans. I went to make a speech. Louisiana. I was in New Orleans, made a speech. I then went into Louisiana, flew into the airport in Louisiana. There was this massive hangar. And it was the night before the election. And I gave a speech, and it was just great. We had so many, thousands and thousands of people. The airport, the hangar was packed. It was a massive room, probably 3 times, 4 times bigger than this room. It was packed. And that was the night before the election. I said, how can I lose? How can I lose? And I didn't lose. I won. And I wasn't expected to win. I won a lot of things that I wasn't expected to do. And I won. Easily, but I won. And everything was good. And then about 2 weeks later, they're showing delegate counts to me. Sir, you did this, you did this, you did that. I said, oh, that's good. What about this one? That's wrong because I won that state, right? Yes, sir, you did. But I have less delegates than the people that lost. And that's when I realized it's rigged, folks. It's rigged. But I got smart fast. I got smart very fast. And one of the things that we're going to focus on, and we're going to focus on more than almost anything because, look, we need safety. We need borders. We're going to have the wall. We're building the wall, and the wall is necessary. And we're going to have a great relationship with Mexico. It's going to be very important. But we're going to build the wall. Mexico's going to pay for the wall. You understand that. No, they're going to pay for the wall. And we're going to have trade, and we're going to have lots of good things happen with Mexico. Mexico doesn't like us right now. Mexico doesn't respect our leaders. Remember Sergeant Tamburisi? Remember? They couldn't get him out of prison, right? Greta was very helpful. I think I was helpful. At least I helped them. But couldn't get him out. And he was there for a long time, long time, in one of the meanest, worst prisons in the world, they say. Horrible place. We couldn't get him out. Should have gotten him out. I'm not sure the president even made a phone call. I will tell you something. When things like that happen, if I'm president, I know they say, oh, it's not presidential, you shouldn't do that. But things like that happen, if I'm president, I promise you, I'll be making phone calls, folks. I'm going to be making phone calls. I mean, I'm not really sure that he ever even made a phone call. Certainly there was no rush. It's sort of like the horrible deal that we made with Iran. Iran has become a power. We have made over the last few years, between Hillary Clinton and John Kerry, it was one of the worst negotiators I've ever seen. How about he goes out and he breaks his leg in a bicycle race? Can you believe this? He's in the middle of negotiating the deal. And he's got all this stuff on. He's got the whole deal, the companies, the whole deal, the helmet. He's got everything going. I promise you, I swear to you, I will never be in a bicycle race during a major negotiation. I promise. Never. Never. But how about that deal? And if you look, Iran was a country that was in deep trouble. They were doing badly. And then we took the sanctions off. And we should have never taken the sanctions off before we finished the deal. We took the sanctions off before. You know why they're great negotiators? They said, we will not negotiate unless you take the sanctions off. And our guys said, okay. That's what they say. And when they said that, why didn't we say we want our prisoners back? Okay? Because our prisoners were there for years after that started. It's like 101. Trump, the art of the deal, right? 101. We say, okay. And we took the sanctions off. We got nothing for that. They agreed to sit down. They were dying. They were choking. And instead of saying, we'll take the sanctions off, but there's two things. Number one, you got to release our prisoners right now. Number two, we're not going to give you $150 billion back, okay? We're not giving it back. And they're going to say, no way, no way. You know, they're great negotiators. The Persians are great negotiators. They're going to say, no way. In a million years, no way. Then you leave. See, Kerry never got up and left, right? Never got up and left. Then you leave. And by the time you get back to the United States, don't even get off the plane. It's going to turn around and go back. You'll have your prisoners and you won't have to pay the $150 billion back. So sad. Because I'm all for making deals. I think it's great. You know, to make deals on nuclear is a good thing, not a bad thing. But you got to make good deals. This is a deal that's ruinous to Israel, in my opinion. I think this deal is a disaster for us, but it's a disaster and even a bigger disaster for Israel. So we're going to have great deals made. We're going to make smart deals. If you think about it, so you had Iran, which was choking, which had they were literally going to bust up. I mean, they were at a point where they were going to remember the riots, and then Obama gave the regime solace, and they just took care of those riots so easily. There was a time when that could have all changed. It could have all changed. So instead, we have a power, a real power that's fighting us. How about we make a deal? They're in Yemen. We're fighting them in Yemen. We make a deal, but we don't make a deal. We don't talk about Yemen. And when asked about why we didn't discuss Yemen, because we're fighting Iran on the other side, right? We're going like this. Well, why didn't you put that into the deal? And Kerry said it was too complicated. What's complicated? What's complicated? We're giving all this stuff away. And they'll have nuclear weapons. They can buy nuclear weapons with the money they have. They become a real power. And now they're on the side of Assad. And, you know, that whole debate we'll have to talk about because, you know, I disagree with a lot of the things that a lot of people have been saying about the Middle East and about what we're doing. You know, it's very interesting. We spend tremendous amounts of money protecting other nations that are very, very wealthy. Japan, Germany, Saudi Arabia, South Korea. We spend money. In South Korea, we have 28,000 soldiers on the line between them and the madman, right? We have 28,000. Every time he acts up, we start sending our ships, our planes, our boats. You turn on one of those ships, it costs you $2 million, right? I would say, don't turn on the engine. Save the money. Don't, please. The captain would say, sir, would you like to hear the engine? I'd say, if it was me, I'd say, no, just save the money, relax. The engine's fine. But it's true. It's true. I mean, that's what they are. It's a different thinking, right? A lot of business people in here, it's a different thinking. There's so much waste. There's so much fraud. There's so much abuse. So we spend all of this money, and I don't want to see them armed, ideally. I don't want to see them armed. But you always have to be prepared to walk, like Kerry should have walked with Iran. He should have walked, and then he should have said, double up the sanctions, and believe me, you'll be back there within 2 days. All right? And most of that's flying time. No, that's what he should have. But you have to be prepared to walk. He never walked, okay? So he never walked. So what happened with Kerry and what happens with all of us is we have the wrong people. We have the greatest negotiators in the world. Anywhere in the world, we're the greatest negotiators. But we don't use them. We use political hacks. So with Germany, with Japan, with Saudi Arabia, which has nothing but money. If we weren't protecting Saudi Arabia, Turkey? Are you from Turkey, sir? Good, congratulations. I actually have a very nice job in Turkey. He's saying, please mention Turkey. Okay. I think he's friend. Are you friend or foe? Huh? I think he's friend. But no, it's true. Turkey. And I do. We have investments in Turkey. I have investments a lot of different places. But I will tell you, and Turkey, by the way, should be fighting ISIS. I hope to see Turkey go out and fight ISIS, because ISIS has, in a certain sense, taken very serious advantage of Turkey. They've taken advantage. And Turkey has a tremendously powerful military, and they could wipe ISIS out by themselves. I would love to see that. How would we love to see that? Because it looks like it was ISIS that did all the damage in the airport. That was Turkey. So I think Turkey is all of a sudden going to change and say, that's enough for this. And Turkey has the power to do it, and they have the power to do it all by themselves. They could do it, and they could do it pretty swiftly, too. So with all of these countries, we pay for the military, big portions, disproportionately. So I said, we have to get them to pay us. And I have a very good plan. I was right on NATO. You know, when I first when they asked me about NATO, and I first said my statement, it's obsolete and they don't cover terrorism like they should. And on top of that, the countries of NATO aren't paying what they're supposed to be paying. It was on television. Everybody smiled. Oh, that's so funny. Funny. Like we're a joke. Funny. Then about 4 days later, they said, you know, Trump was sort of right. You have these people that study NATO, but they're so close to it. They're so totally close to it. They can't see the forest for the trees. Does that make sense? So about 4 days later, they said, you know, I said NATO's obsolete, and they don't have terrorism the way it should have. They don't even have the right countries for terrorism, actually. But they don't have terrorism as a big thing. And we're paying for so much, and a lot of these countries aren't paying what they're supposed to be paying, many of them. So we're protecting all these countries. They're not even paying us what they're supposed to be paying, and that's too little. So I made that statement, and I'm telling you, for 3 or 4 days, it was like Donald Trump doesn't know. Now, I'm not saying I'm an expert on NATO. Nobody ever asked me about NATO before. But I have a lot of common sense, and I have a lot of business sense. I built this great company. I built an unbelievable company. I have business sense. So 3 or 4 days later, all of a sudden, they start saying, you know, what Trump just said makes a lot of sense. So 2 weeks ago, I pick up the Wall Street Journal, and on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, headline, NATO to develop new unit for terrorism. That's what I told them. And then it announced one of the top people in the world, it is NATO, right? But one of the top people to be put in charge. Okay? I said, that's what I said. Now, my name was mentioned in the bottom. They said, Donald Trump complained. Oh, great. I didn't complain. I said NATO is obsolete because of that. That didn't mean abandon NATO. It didn't mean anything. Either you fix it or you have to develop something having to do with terrorism, but it's obsolete. We have a different world today than we had 40 years ago and 60 years ago. We have a different world. Even the Soviet Union is now Russia, but let's say Russia's damn strong, so leave it for that. But you know what? It's a different world. And I see things that a lot of people don't. I said, take the oil. You shouldn't. I also said, don't go into Iraq. It's a big mistake. You're going to destabilize the Middle East. They went in. But I also said, don't go out the way we went out. We just went out. President Obama announced we're going to be out by a certain date. The only thing deceptive about that was the enemy said, nobody would have said that. So I don't think they believed it. And then the date happened, we left. And, you know, this all led to the formation of ISIS and lots of other things. But I said, when you go out, take the oil, right? How long have I been saying that? For years. And, you know, on television, they say, before I did that, they say, what is your plan? What is a plan? I said, I don't want to really say, because I have a really good chance of being elected. And I don't want to talk about it. You know, General Patton didn't sit on television and say, let's see, on July 16th, we're going to attack ISIS from behind. Were they going to knock out a battalion over here, and we're going to drop so many bombs at this quadrant, and we're going to get, here's my plan. And by the way, everything, do you ever notice? Everything we do, it's always hard because we always have to say. So I say to the television people, I don't want to really tell you. I was on Bill O'Reilly the other night. I said, Bill, I don't want to really talk about it. Believe me, I know what I'm going to do. We're going to knock the hell out of ISIS. I don't want to really too much talk about it. But here's the problem. You got to get elected, so you got to talk about it. It's a little defective. You got to get elected, so you got to talk about it. So I said I'd go in with NATO, and I'd make NATO do something. And I'd go in, and I'd also get all of the countries around there that are really involved and have to be involved. And I'd go, and you got to clean it up, because these people are chopping off heads. They're drowning people. We're not allowed to waterboard, right? We can't waterboard. They're allowed to chop off heads. They're allowed to drown people. I said the other day, when they go home and they're together and they just chopped off 50 heads, drowned 200 people, and then they say, in the United States, they don't allow waterboarding. They think we are so stupid. They think we are so weak. They have no respect for us whatsoever. And remember this, the only thing they understand is strength. They don't understand kindness. They don't understand political correctness. The only thing they understand is strength and toughness. And we're weak. We're weak. And Hillary is weak as you get. Hillary is a weak person. She's a weak person. They will not understand Hillary. They want her to get in so badly. The last person they want to see become president of the United States, believe me, is Donald Trump. I can tell you that. That's the last person. They have dreams at night, and their dreams are that Hillary Clinton becomes president of our country. Believe me. So we need to show toughness. We need to show strength. We have to level the playing field. We don't have a level playing field. We don't fight to win anymore. We don't win anymore. We don't win with the economy. We got China ripping us off. We have Japan ripping us off. We have Mexico beating us at the border, beating us on trade, taking all of our companies. I mean, they're taking tremendous numbers of companies. It's unbelievable. I think one of the reasons I won Indiana is that the air conditioning company, Carrier, announced they were leaving. They're going to fire 1,400 people who went to my speeches. They were all over the place. Every time I said, who's here from Carrier? All these hands would be raised. 1,400 people fired viciously and stupidly because Carrier was moving, and they're from Indianapolis. Carrier was moving to Mexico. I think it had a huge, because I won. You remember that was going to be the firewall for the other people that were running against me. And it was a firewall for me. I won with a landslide, right? Now, having Bobby Knight helped a lot, but I will tell you, they and New York and New England and every place, Pennsylvania, big league, we have our companies leaving. So that happens. We're going to stop that. We're going to stop that cold. And we're going to be so strong, and we're going to be so smart, and we're going to start winning again. We're going to start winning like we have never won before. We don't win anymore as a country. We don't win for our vets. We're going to take care of our vets, by the way. We don't win for our vets. We don't win for anything. We don't win for our pride. We don't win anymore. And it's going to stop. We're going to be victorious in so many different ways. As an example, Common Core. We're bringing our education back locally. We're getting rid of Common Core. We're getting rid of Common Core. We're going to bring our education local. Our education system is a mess, and a big reason is Common Core. So we're going to start winning again, folks. We're going to win with our military. We're going to win for our vets. We're going to win with education. We're going to win with healthcare. We're going to win big, big, big with trade. We're not going to have these deficits of $500 billion a year losses. We have with China $505 billion a year. They laugh at us. And everyone talks about free trade. I was asked the other day, they said, well, what's your, I know free trade so much, I know, okay? They said, well, what's your definition? What do you like? I said, I like trade where we make great deals for the United States. That's what I like. That's my definition. That's my definition of trade. I know every form of trade. I know every form of taxation. We're going to make great deals for the United States. We have the greatest negotiators in the world. We don't use them. We use political hacks. We're going to make great deals for the United States. So we're going to bring our money back. We right now owe China $1.8 trillion. We owe Japan $1.6 trillion. Think of it. Japan sends us millions of cars, and we owe them $1.6 trillion. You know what I call that? A magic act in reverse. It's like a magic act. So, folks, we're going to start winning again. We're going to win so much that the people of Colorado are going to be sick of winning. You're going to say, oh, I can't stand it. This guy, this president, he wins too much. We're not used to it. We can't take it. And your representatives and our great head of the Republican Party, who is a great guy, by the way, and I thank you for introducing me. I'm going to get calls in the White House. Mr. President, please, sir, please, we don't want to win this much. We're winning too much. My people in Colorado are going crazy. We just don't want to win. Not that much, just a little bit. I'll say, no way. We're going to win, and we're going to make America great again, okay? So I want to thank you all. I love you, folks. Get out there. Get out there and vote. We got to get out there and vote. And I want to thank you. Thank you, everybody. I love you, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Saul
Is Colorado Trump country?
Presumptive nominee.
Thank you very much.
470-6738. 202-470-6738. Right Side Broadcasting Network. Tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be keep that phone number because we'll be taking more phone calls. We also have Antonio Sabato Jr., who is a Trump supporter, Hollywood conservative, and he's going to be joining us. He's going to be answering our questions tonight. We had Stacey Dash in here last night. So, Ken, what did you think about the speech today?
I mean, everything that Trump talks about is definitely on every conservative, principle. I mean, it was a conservative conversation. It was a conservative speech. I mean, he did a really, really good job. I mean, he talked about Hillary Clinton. He talked about the incompetence. I mean, I think it's funny he called her Crooked Hillary on there. But he did a really good job. He really just, he reiterated the facts that really separates and differentiates himself between him running as a candidate and Hillary Clinton running as a candidate. I mean, You can tell this guy, he's a wise man. And I can see why the left fears him so much. Mm-hmm. Is because the man is so dang smart.
He is smart.
So smart.
He is smart. And that's what we need. We need somebody like Donald Trump in the office. We need somebody who wants to be the leader, who has the experience to be the leader of something. And Donald Trump also has a background of success, and that's something that Hillary Clinton doesn't have. Hillary Clinton doesn't have any success. Like I have tweeted out before, Donald Trump builds skyscrapers. Hillary Clinton builds cemetery plots, and I really mean that in the way that Donald Trump has been speaking to a lot of his the followers and a lot of the supporters. He wants everybody to know that the way that America is going, you need somebody who's going to be strong, patriotic, who cares for this country, and he is one of them. So our phone number today is 202-470-6738, 202-470-6738. You can call in, talk to us, and let us know what you thought of the speech. The phone lines are open right now. We're going to be on for a few minutes more, but we are also going to be back tonight, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our special guest is Antonio Sabato Jr. You've seen him on Fox News. You've seen him also stand up for Donald Trump. Last night we had Stacey Dash. We also had Robert Davi, who called in on Tuesday night, and a couple weeks ago we even had Donald Trump join in on us and have a great conversation. So you want to hear the best interviews for in support of Donald Trump, or if you want to hear some passionate conservative radio show hosts that aren't bought by the organization, that aren't bought by the corporations, that aren't bought, then you need to tune in here on the Right Side Broadcasting Network every night from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Wayne Dupree Show. 202-470-6738. We're taking phone calls from those of you that watched Donald Trump at the Western Conservative Summit in Colorado. What did you think? What did you think of his speech? What did you think of Sarah Palin's speech? We're going to be on here for a couple minutes more. The tone, it seemed like it was a little bit low key today, but it still packed a wallop. It still packed a punch, for me at least. And I'm glad. Honestly, every time Donald Trump gets on TV, it assures me that we still have a chance. You know what I'm saying?
Well, this is one thing that makes me so angry, is that people label, if you're a Christian or if you're conservative, as weak. You know what? I mean, I don't want a dictator. Nobody in America wants a dictator. But you know what? I like when Donald Trump gets his, when he gets vocal. I like when you see the power come out of his mouth. I like that, because I'm tired. We don't have Republicans on the right side right now that are putting up a fight for the American people. I like it. I'm tired of watching the Republicans get walked all over. The American people, we don't want a dictator, but we want somebody that's going to be the president, that's going to stand up for our country and say, you know what? I respect what you have to say, but you are not going to mess with my country. I will stand up for the American people. I will honor the Constitution. I will call you out when you do wrong, and I will tell you what we need to do to fix this. That's what the American people want, is we want somebody that's going to go in and have, I'm just going to say it, that has the balls to stand up and say it.
That's right.
That's what we want. It's time that America has a leader that's not weak. We're sick of weakness, tired of weakness.
And caller, we're bringing on a caller. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Dave Leo from South Carolina.
South Carolina. What did you think of Mr. Trump's speech?
Well, like all his speeches, they're common sense speeches. Okay? And what I would really like to hear from Donald is a speech on what he talked about when he was in New York, on how he saved the ice skating rink. Mm-hmm. Now, I work in construction for the government, as not a government worker, but as an employee for how can I say it? I was a co-worker for the government, and I know about the how government waste and fraud is all about. And when Donald, you want to
hear more of the successes to show that he knows exactly what he's doing, and that America can be great again because of that.
Yeah, when he talked about the ice skating rink, it's like you have to know what you're talking about, okay? And because I'm in air conditioning, my trade is in air conditioning, and especially when I heard him talk about what the refrigeration does and everything like that, I was like, no politician would know anything about that. A builder would know something like that, and that's what Donald does. He builds things. And the only thing I could hope for is him building the country up.
Well, thank you for your call. Thank you for calling in. We have another caller calling in right now. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Janice, and I'm calling from Denver, Colorado.
Hi, Janice. What did you think of Mr. Trump's speech just a few minutes ago?
I loved it. I thought it was powerful, and it was needed in Colorado, because Colorado was not good to Mr. Trump in the beginning, and I think a lot of people are coming around that we still have the Never Trump here that is commanded by Randy Corcoran and Steve Deese. So they're going to try and hit the convention. So I hope everybody gets together and lets Colorado get on board. I thought it was absolutely great. I love him. I will work for him, and I hope he's our next president.
Hey, Janice, thank you so much for your phone call. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to roll up out of here. I have Cam Nelson on with me. Cam, how can people reach you on social media?
I'm on Twitter at CamKamVTV.
All right. And you can catch me on Twitter at Wayne Dupree Show. You can catch me on Facebook. Just type in Wayne Dupree Show. We will be back here 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're going to be broadcasting live. We're going to be taking your phone calls, 202-470-6738. We're going to close out the week together as Trump supporters, 202-470-6738. Don't forget, our special guest is Antonio Sabato Jr., Trump supporter out there in Hollywood, California. And believe me, you don't want to miss what he has to say. If you missed last night's interview with Stacey Dash, it was very emotional. You have to go on the Right Side Broadcasting Network and check it out. Thank you so much for listening. We are out of here. Thank you very much.